Welcome to Black Girls Can Talk, the podcast where we dive into real, unfiltered conversations about what it means to be a Black woman in today's world. I'm your host, Dr. Dejanelle McCree, founder of Black Girls Can Talk. And here, we're creating a space where we can unpack everything from culture and beauty trends to mental health and the joys and challenges of Black womanhood. Whether you're here for the tea or looking for deep discussions, you're in the right place. So grab your seat at the table and let's get into it. Welcome back to another episode of the Black Girls Can Talk podcast, where we uplift and empower the voices of Black women. I am your host, Dr. Dejanelle McCree, and today I have a very, very special guest with us. We have Dr. Ebony January, who is a board-certified OBGYN, a national speaker, and the CEO of Dr. EJ's Fitness Bootcamp. How are you today, Dr. January?
I'm well. How about yourself?
I'm well. Thank you so much for joining me, especially for such an important conversation. And so what I wanted to first kind of center this conversation around for our listeners is that, as you know, we as Black women are disproportionately impacted as it relates to many things in the realm of health. But when it comes to maternal health, and I dare to say maternal morbidity as well, we are unfortunately, again, the prevalence is pretty high as it the adverse effects of it, I should say. So I wanted to start off by, before I have you introduce yourself to our guests, I wanted to give some ground setting statistics. So first being, Black women in the United States are nearly 3 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related causes than white women. Over 80% of pregnancy-related deaths are considered preventable. Black women report higher rates of chronic stress, hypertension, and untreated pain, often because they are not believed in clinical settings. Advocacy in healthcare is not optional for Black women. It can literally be life-saving. And that's why conversations like this one today matter. So, Dr. January, I want to just kind of walk through your journey. So, I know that a lot of us as little girls, you probably dreamt of becoming a doctor, right? But what led you to become an OB?
I tell the story all the time, but I actually decided that I wanted to be an OBGYN when I was 14. I went into college wanting to be an OBGYN, high school wanting to be an OBGYN, medical school specifically to be an OBGYN. And it was 2 things that were very instrumental in me becoming an OBGYN specifically. One, my grandmother had 14 kids. And at the same time that I watched her body deteriorate, I actually watched my aunts take care of her. So my dad owned like multiple homes on this one street. And the house that we grew up in, which was a 1-bedroom house, there's like 6 of us in this house, he actually bought the house next door and added on to it. And so when my grandmother got sick, he actually moved her into the 1-bedroom house, and I watched my aunts rotate and take care of her. At the same time that I watched this woman who was so funny, so strong, who had given life to so many women and so many beings, I should say, when I watched her health slowly decline, but at the same time, my stepmom was pregnant with my youngest sister, Alyssa. And to see her body change, right, her belly grow, and then boop, all of a sudden we have this baby, it was really instrumental in me becoming an OBGYN specifically because I watched this body grow, and then I watched this body who had given life to so many people, and I didn't really see the process, right, because I'm her grandchild, but the 2 parallels really is what affected me so tremendously to say, I'm going to be an OBGYN, but I don't just want to deliver babies and take care of women as it pertains to pregnancy. This woman also struggled with chronic illness and chronic disease, right, that affected her. And so she had diabetes, she had, she had cardiovascular issues, I should say. And so she had multiple strokes back to back. And I said, as an OBGYN, I'm able to also treat chronic disease and chronic issues in general health. A lot of times when people see the OB or say OBGYN, they're like, oh, all you do is deliver babies. And I'm like, no, we don't just deliver babies. We take care of women's issues, and we do surgery that are not C-sections. And so that those two parallels in my life is which made me decide to become an OBGYN. The type of OBGYN I decided to become, that came after. And that came with working with people and wanting to help people, which actually that came before me wanting to help people, but the way in which I would help, I didn't fully understand until I actually started practicing.
Makes sense. I always tell people that even with these titles and all of that, we still figuring it out as life goes on. So sometimes it doesn't come all at once. Like for you, luckily enough, you had a dream, right? You knew what you wanted to be, you know what you wanted to do, but like how you were gonna do that, it sounds kind of you figured out along the way, and you
Yeah.
here and you made it. So
Yeah.
that's important. That's
Yeah.
important for people to hear. Thank you for
Still
sharing
figuring it
that.
out.
Yeah, still to this day, I tell my students all the time, listen, y'all think y'all don't got it all? I don't even know half the days. But
Exactly.
that's just part of being human, right? And living life's course.
Absolutely.
So thank you for your transparency in that. So you've dedicated your career to advancing holistic wellness, health advocacy, and innovation for Black women, both in clinical spaces and through community engagement. I wanted to first start off by discussing the truth. So, what do you feel Black women are facing right now when it comes to health?
Well, it's a few things. And in order for me to talk about what's going on now, I need to really close out that conversation about how I became the particular OBGYN that I would become, right? As a maternal health advocate, as someone who pushes holistic care and preventative medicine, or risk reduction is what I'm calling it these days. Is that when I went to practice medicine in St. Louis, Missouri, at a FQHC, Federally Qualified Health Center, I saw a lot of women who knew nothing about their bodies. And me, I grew up in a household where, even though I'm from, East St. Louis, which is where, it's very impoverished, my dad juiced. My dad was about juicing and really healing the body, eating to live, those kind of things. We had a garden. I to tell people I woke up to the juicer every single morning. And so he had such an influence on me with it as it pertains to wellness in and of itself. Like, he taught us to swim, he taught us to work out. And so when I went to practice, I saw people who were from areas just like myself. I was born in St. Louis. I saw that they didn't know the things that I knew. Not, and I'm not talking about as a doctor. I'm talking about as a human being that knew about wellness. They didn't know what eating right, or eating the proper things, I should say. They didn't know what that was, right? Because it wasn't introduced into their lives. Like, my dad introduced it into my life and the lives of my siblings, and also to my cousins and aunts and uncles and things of that nature. And so they didn't have a Daniel January in their lives that taught them about eating right and things of that nature, things that could also prevent them. This is independent of healthcare. This is a independent, and which is what a lot of the conversation is about these days, is about the delivery of care. But knowing is so key. Knowledge is truly power. Not to sound cliche, but I saw so many women who didn't know about cardiovascular risks. They didn't know the importance of knowing their family history at all. They didn't know the importance of eating right, setting yourself up for success, because, when you get to these hospitals and giving bad care, what's going to help save you? And it's the things that you're putting into your body. And so, in order to say what we're facing right now, I had to also make sure that we understand that we also can set ourselves up for success by making sure that we make proper decisions. Now, you got healthcare, right? That's a whole different beast. Everyone wants to point the finger at just one thing. And I'm telling you, it's not just one thing. We have to do the work, hospitals have to do the work, policymakers have to do the work, doctors have to do the work, nurses, the whole shebang. And so now, when you get to the hospitals where you have delays in care, you have mistreatment, right? All of the things that affect our outcome. I can't say that it's just one thing that is causing us to have poor outcomes, but you do have women who are not being listened to, but also that has a lot to do with the fact that you have to train culturally competent nurses and doctors, right? Like you were trained to look at a book, to read a book, but this book doesn't teach you about people. I have a minor in anthropology, right? And people are like, wow, you have a degree in biology and most people will get a minor in chemistry just secondarily. But I minored in anthropology. They don't teach you about people, how to humanize medicine. They just teach you about what's in the book, right? And so when you talk about innovative things that I did, what I found was that I found preventable causes of uterine cancer, and a lot of it had to do with excess weight. So I built a text weight loss coaching program in response to my patients to text them when and what to eat and workouts that could be done in the home because they were forgetting to eat or they were eating the things that were not nutritious enough and it was leading to obesity related cancers. And so those are the innovations that I'm bringing and hopefully other people are bringing to the table as well to set ourselves up for success. But that is what's happening in our communities, not just what we're eating, but the delivery of healthcare and the system in and of itself.
I have so many things to say, but I just hear you being a person right now in this conversation. Like, yes, you are a doctor and you wear that hat, but right now, your truth is just that you are a human who cares about other humans. And I love to hear you say that they teach you, because I have always said there are so many doctors that are just textbook. And I understand the schooling that you all go through, and I get why a lot of doctors go by the textbook. That's what you know. However, you to the point of humanizing it. You're a human just like anyone else, and I do understand the concept of desensitizing. You have to, even in my work, I have to. However, there are moments that you could take off your cape and just
Yeah,
be
and be
like,
what? I'm a
and be
woman
human.
first. You know, my
That's it.
patients, it's funny. My patients would say, well, doc, I will break things down and I will give them their options. And they were like, what would you tell your mom? I'm like, I would tell my mom, I don't treat people different whether we have the same blood running through our veins or not. I'm a human first, right? And I spend more time with you all than I do with my mom. So y'all like my family as well. So you know, it's funny that I think that sometimes even patients forget that we're human. That I'm a woman first, that I was a woman before I was a doctor, right? I've been a woman and a person way longer than I've been a doctor. And so I think that we also have to, when you talk about that, we have to see each other as human. The way that you're seeing me, patients need to see us the same way, and we need to see them. We need to see ourselves inside of the patients as well, because we all can be on the receiving end. Like I'm a patient as well. I got to go to the cardiologist at 2 o'clock, So um, I think that it's important that when we're in our respective roles, that we have to remember that we're a team.
Yeah, yes. Thank you for bringing that to light. And just to kind of put your doctor hat back on, I do have a question specific to, again, Black maternal health. So, as an OBGYN, what concerns you most about the current state of Black maternal health?
I have a lot of concerns, right? One of my main concerns is tribalism in medicine, where we have this group of healthcare providers against this group of healthcare providers, this group of healthcare providers against this group, and we all, don't get me wrong, I think that you should have a a lot of faith in yourself, a lot of confidence in yourself and what you do. But a lot of times it's like East Coast, West Coast beefing, in the labor room or in the hospitals. And the only people that suffer are the patients, right? So I think that we have to come together as clinical people and people who run the hospitals that are non-clinical. We have to come together as a team, because I don't think patients see what we also go through behind closed doors as doctors, nurses, the whole nine. But a lot of times we're against each other, and I think that is horrible. And so that's one of my major concerns. I'm also concerned about just the systems and the processes and the delays. Like I'll give an example just of myself, and Now, keep in mind, a pregnant woman can go through this and is hormonal. There all of the things that she's dealing with. Maybe she has kids at home, but just calling to make an appointment, we have to say, okay, do we accept your insurance? Okay, we do accept your insurance, but your insurance won't pay for it unless you have this first. Then you go to make that appointment, or you have to call to get that referral for that particular thing. And so it's like it's so convoluted. And so then you see the delays and the delays and the delays and the delays. So now you put this, a pregnant woman through that same system, and she's dealing with maybe a potential complication. You get what I'm saying? And so we have so many delays, so many hoops to get to. Even if you have a great doctor, to get to that great doctor, there's a hoop. So those are some of the issues that I'm seeing right now. And I would say some of the main things that need to be addressed, or how do we address delays in care, but also some of those delays in care come from health literacy, not knowing when to go to the doctor. Okay, we need you to do the part as well. To get to us, we need to know what we need you keeping track of your symptoms. We need for you to know what's normal, what's not normal. But that means also, as a doctor, that I have to educate you on these are the things to look out for, which was the main reason that I wrote my book. It was to close that knowledge gap between doctors and patients. Like, I don't know every single patient, so you still need to have a conversation with your doctor, but I at least want to give you a foundational start, right? And so we have delays in care, and we have lack of knowledge, and then we have a broken system.
Ooh. Oh my goodness. And everything you said, in my personal opinion, because in the line of work that I do as well among the LGBTQ plus community, there are delays in seeking care for other reasons, maybe not the same as a pregnant woman, right? To your point, I have to go through all of these hoops and loops, and by the time I do all that, I don't feel like it no more.
Exactly.
But some of the like the tribalism you speak to, some of that I don't know if it's noticed that trickles down. Like we can feel some of that separation and some of that like it makes it a little bit awkward. Like maybe okay, am I supposed to be here? Like who am I supposed to be talking to? Like when it's just not when you're not able to receive comprehensive care, but B, when you feel like your provider's not even on the same page, like that's a whole different beast. But thank you for bringing up your book. So one, I have a few questions, but I want you to definitely introduce your book and let us know what the title is and everything like that. But speaking of that, that was a great segue into my next question, which really kind of surrounds the conversation that Black women aren't taken seriously when they go to the doctor. So, two part, once again, what do you believe are some concerns that are maybe not being taken serious in clinical settings? And then how do you feel that women could advocate for themselves in that way? And I'm pretty sure some of that is probably in your book.
Yeah, and I do some courses on it as well. But I'll say this, going back to my first point, which was about making sure that we train culturally competent clinical people, right? To understand that I may deliver my message a little bit different than you do, or my symptoms may present themselves as something a little bit different than your symptoms. And I think that now that we know, we have awareness that we're being treated differently, now it's up to hospitals and doctors to start changing and training themselves, getting to know who the type of patient that we're dealing with. When we talk about humanizing, not every person knows that they have bias. I want to make that point, right? You have conscious and unconscious bias, and I do training on this for actual hospital staff and clinical individuals. We don't all know that we have bias, right? Harvard has a bias test that I think that everyone should take. And we don't know that. We need to receive training in that. We need to know that people that look different may present themselves differently. They may complain about something that may be different than how we may actual complain. And we need to make sure that we stop generalizing people, right? Those biases we have to make sure that we address, and we turn the mirror on ourselves as people who are delivering care. If the outcome is a healthy baby and a healthy mom, then we need to get there the best way that we know how, and that means undergoing additional training for ourselves to improve ourselves as doctors, as nurses, or what have you. We have to make sure that we undergo training for ourselves. If the goal is the goal, I don't care what we have to do. We have to put our egos aside in order to accomplish those goals. That's first and foremost. When you talk about advocating for yourself, remember, I'm a patient as well. Okay. I've had to advocate for myself. You need to make sure that you have access to the patient advocate number when you go to a hospital, or even an office. The ombudsman, right? This is someone that you should make sure that you know. Nurse supervisors, nurse managers, the chief nursing officer, the chief medical officer. Make sure you have those numbers on speed dial. I keep saying this over and over again. Review these hospitals. Now, we do live in areas where people don't have access to multiple doctors, right? Or multiple hospitals. So this is where telemedicine comes into play. This is where doctors like myself who are online that can potentially guide you. We're not giving medical advice, but we can guide you in the right direction, right? So that you know what questions to ask when you go to the doctor. Ask them this, ask them that, right? So do the homework. We have AI where you can say, okay, it's not, don't use it as a diagnosis, but use it at least for what questions to ask. And I'll say this: learn how to communicate. We all have to learn how to communicate with one another. This is not a us versus you thing. We have to make sure that we use non-threatening language to one another, okay? But also know how to go above whoever is delivering care to you. But also, once again, just like the doctors have to turn the mirror on themselves, as patients, we have to turn the mirrors on ourselves as well. We have to have education to know what questions to ask. We have to be able to deliver that in the way that is not aggressive. I see it all the time where people are very aggressive to doctors and to nurses. And of course, you go into the defense, and it's vice versa, right? And so I think those are the things that we have to know, but also prepare yourself. Women, tour the hospitals, look at their reviews as well when we're talking specifically pregnancy, and have a support person. I am super team doula. And dads, you all can be doulas as well, or you can be support persons. Know about her health, know about her history, and know how to speak to the person that is providing care. If you can't make it to the doctor's appointments, make sure you video in. The labor room is not the place to learn how to communicate. It is not the place to learn what knowledge, what is going to happen in labor.
That's so good. That's so good. Because I don't want to say it's too late at that point, but you already in the thick of it. So
It's game time. It's game time. And
right.
that's what I tell people, even with the book. This is to help prepare you so that you know what questions to ask. Sure, it's not a one size fits all. Like, I don't know your history, but I'm telling you, these are the things that we see, so you know how to communicate when the doctors and nurses are using words that they don't go over your head. Like, oh, I heard that, or I remember that. That's this preeclampsia. It's this, So those are the things that we have to start doing.
And I want people to also understand, if you don't understand something, ask what that means. I think a lot of times we're so used to doctors using certain vocabulary and verbiage that we're just like, oh, I don't know what that means, but whatever they said. And then we'll even go back to our family and be like, they told me something about something. I don't really remember. But that's part of educating yourself too. I have no issue. I don't care what degree I have. If I don't understand something or don't know that word, I'm going to say, well, define that for me. What that mean?
Exactly.
Because we don't know everything, right? And I love just going back to the piece about cultural competency. So everything that I do as a researcher informs clinical trainings, right? And so I have shied away from using cultural competence in my articles and things like that, simply because that can be subjective. However, it is the same as cultural appropriateness, right? Meaning that, to your point, providers should be learning, it's case by case, understand that, but you should be learning about different populations, what impacts them, and that's demographics, not just, there's multiple demographics, not just ethnicity, but we also talking sex, race, ethnicity, all of that, right? So you need to be versed on that, and that you can't, sure, some of it could come out of a textbook. However, things change all the time. The world we're in now, they're making up all type of acronyms. They're making up all, I can't keep up, but it's to your very point, is not just patients educating themselves, but also providers. So it's certainly a two-way street. Um, so I know that you focus on holistic wellness, and that word does get thrown around a lot. We have all types of new holistic wellness practitioners and things like that. But one kind of in your line of work and what you do, how you define holistic wellness, but also where do you believe fitness, nutrition, and stress management fit into reproductive health?
Oh, it's the foundation. It is the foundation. In my book, Empowered Motherhood, which is available on Amazon, it's the first section of my book where I talk about the pre-pregnancy. And I want you to understand that your pregnancy as a woman can be very predictive of your health outcomes in the future. So that this is why when we talk about insurance carriers and them extending insurance, the postpartum insurance is so important because that truly affects us years to come, right? So when you talk about stress management, whether you're pregnant or not, it affects your cardiovascular health, period, point blank. Okay. I talk a lot about, I give resources in my book for like yoga, making sure just websites that you can utilize. I'm not asking you to spend any extra money. I'm asking you to go on YouTube and go to Yoga by Adriene and do some yoga to help with your breathing. Journaling. My best friend bought me a journal for my birthday. And let me tell you, it is really saving my life. You know, I recently lost my mother and it really, really helped with the grief. That it is the foundation. Your stress management is first and foremost. I did a talk at Claflin University to 400 student leaders, and it was surrounding wellness. And what I do is I break down their week into 168 hours. That's how many hours we have in a week. And I say, okay, these are the non negotiables. The first thing is your mental wellness, period, because everything else follows that. So when you talk about mental wellness, stress, and physical, right, that falls in line as well. At first, I thought that, oh, I'm working out. That's going to be that's my wellness. No, it's not just physical. It's the mental side of things as well. Is what you eat that goes into your body, right? Because that affects how you feel. All of the things is interconnected. So it's not, this one is more important than this one. It's all interconnected. Your physical, your mental, all of the things are interconnected, and it sets yourself up for a healthy pregnancy and a healthy postpartum period, right? You want to create good habits. Now, when we talk about the labor room being game time, and I said that's not the place to learn what a fetal heart rate deceleration is, or what a VBAC versus a TOLAC is. That's not the place to learn. It's the same thing for your wellness. Pre-pregnancy is so important because one of the top causes of morbidity and mortality, I know we didn't want to say that word, is cardiovascular issues. We are not setting ourselves up for success. We're not creating good habits, right? And so you want to make sure that you're creating good habits before pregnancy or even during pregnancy. And so that will affect your postpartum side of things. When you talk about gestational diabetes, which is diabetes in pregnancy, 50% of those women go on to develop type 2 diabetes in the future. And it's the same thing for cardiovascular disease as well. If you have preeclampsia or gestational hypertension, which is on the spectrum of hypertensive disorders, I go through all of this and break all of these things down in my book. But it's so important. And I'm so happy that you asked that question, because fitness and wellness is what actually started my brand. The doctor, when you said the LLC Dr. EJ's Fitness Bootcamp, that's what started it. It wasn't maternal or anything. It was wellness. It was the juicing and teaching women how to eat properly. And so it is the foundation of who I am and what I talk about.
Yes, I love it. I love it. And I also want to just share my condolences. We shared that in having lost a mother. And so I unfortunately know the journey. And so I'm happy to see that you are doing things to remain whole and to remain well, like journaling. And journaling is not for everybody, but I charge anyone listening to do what works for you. So find something that works for you, whether that's leaning into your community, whether that's going to church, whether it's both of those things and more. Because to your point, it's not just a physical aspect of wellness. It also is mental. It's also emotional, psychological, all of those things, right? So to be whole, we have to touch each point. So thank you for touching on that. Um, my next question, I'm trying to be sensitive in asking this because I believe there are a lot of myths about life in general. And I'm wondering what you see as a myth or a potential myth that we as Black women believe about our bodies that we should unlearn.
Well, one of the things that women should unlearn is that each pregnancy is not always going to be the same, right? And so many times people say, well, this pregnancy was nice and normal, or I experienced this with, my previous pregnancy, so this is going to be the same, and so maybe I don't have to go to the doctor, or maybe I don't have to mention this. And I will say that that is absolutely wrong. Okay, not every pregnancy will be the same. And so it's important that you pay attention to your body. Um, you age. In between pregnancies, people get diagnoses, right? They may get a diagnosis of high blood pressure, or maybe another condition like lupus, or what have you. So I want to really dispel that myth that every pregnancy is going to be the same, because that's not necessarily the case. So it's still important to be a team player and to pay attention, watch the trends, right? Watch the trends of what happens to your body, and truly pay attention. And then also, and this is more of a sidebar, but that this is just maternal health is just the woman's responsibility. Maternal health is everyone's responsibility. Okay, we need all hands on deck, with as it pertains to this is the crisis. So I think that those are the two myths that people need to understand. When I first wrote my book, people were like, "Oh yeah, I'm done having babies." Oh, until you have to parent your grandchild because your mom had the mom had a complication, or your daughter had a complication. Oh, I'm done until you as an aunt have to step in because a complication arose with your niece or your nephew. You get what I'm saying? So we need to stop just cutting things off as if it's not going to affect us in some type of way. It will.
Yeah, absolutely. And like they say, it takes a village. Sometimes you the only person in that village. So you literally can't say what's going to happen because only God can, first and foremost. Um, Thank you for bringing that point up. I have not had a live birth, but I hear people think that the next time, like, oh, my first pregnancy was so, everything went great. So I'm expecting to have a similar experience, and it's like, you do know different baby, different time. To your point, you might have had a diagnosis in the middle of both of those time periods. So as our bodies grow, as time goes on, to your point, we need to be paying attention to what's changing in us, because that could change the outcome of our pregnancy.
And the people around us need to pay attention. And that's what's most important. And I cannot stress that enough. Significant others, dads, support persons. I just recently did a class. I taught a class in Las Vegas, and one of the best friends of the patient, the pregnant woman, was there. And I was so happy that she was there learning. Right. She got a copy of the book. She was taking notes. She was very engaged. And so I think that it's important that not just women who are pregnant, that you pay attention, but the people around you. And you can build a village, right? Your village doesn't necessarily have to be someone that you're related to. I can honestly say, in caring for a sick dad, my village has been amazing friends and support that have come from places that God knows God put them in my life. So I think that it is important. I wanted to make sure that I touched on that point that you just previously said, that we build a village, and secondly, that support persons, you need to pay attention. Don't just leave it on the woman who's pregnant, because pregnant women, the hormones are fluctuating, the memory is not the best, So you want to make sure that you actually pay attention as well.
Outside of medicine, you're a leader and an entrepreneur. So I wanted to ask you a question specific to your journey. So what boundaries have been essential in protecting your health as a high achieving Black woman?
Ooh, let me tell you something. I operate on a schedule. Do you
Got
understand?
to.
Like that you're not just gonna pick up the phone or and call me and think that I'm going to answer when I'm focused on what I'm focused on. Like I'll say that AI has been great. And when I taught the class of the young people on just wellness and the 168 hours, I showed them certain apps like, for example, Gmail has reclaim.ai, and it will integrate focused times into your schedule where it'll block it off. So like if you were to book me on my Calendly link and Reclaim has designated that time as focus time for me or time for me to just decompress, then then you can't book then. And I'm not taking calls. So I'm really particular about what enters my space, right? Not to be overwhelmed. I still, I'm not perfect at it, but taking calls at a certain time, and I let people know. And you have to train the people around you. Let me say that. Um, you have to train the people around you how to treat you and your boundaries as well. And it took some time. It took some time for me to train the people around me, but now they understand. But you also have to govern yourself, and you can govern yourself on a schedule. Like I said, the Reclaim.ai, I just, found it, but I started blocking out times. I started letting my assistant know, hey, I'm not taking appointments during this time. And so it's really important to structure your life and to set those boundaries and write them down, right? You can say, okay, you can start on, if you want to start on Monday, Sunday, or whatever on your off day, to say, okay, this day during the week, I'm setting this time aside for mental wellness, for my boundaries. I'm only taking calls during this time, and you need to stick to it.
The sticking to it is the most important. And I'm hearing you sounded just like me. People are so mad that my phone lives on do not disturb 365 days a year. I'm not talking quiet time, just 4 hours. No. All day long. You got to call me twice. Okay. Because to your point, and we get so inundated with whatever we're focusing on. Sometimes I can't have that bothering me right now. I don't even get on social media anyway, but I definitely don't have any notifications coming through because and that's going back to wellness, knowing that I am a person who, child, unfortunately, I think I was born with it, but lives with, so I will say that I no longer live with anxiety because I don't let it overtake me. However, I am a human and I become anxious. So I limit the things that I know make me anxious. My phone ringing makes me anxious. So you cannot call me dirt. Please don't call me, especially if you see that location at my institution. Do not call me. I'm busy. It don't matter. It don't matter if I'm just walking the hall. I'm busy. I might be talking to a student, what have you. So I love that. For one, you talk about planning your time. If it's not on my calendar, it doesn't exist. That's first. Let the people hear us say. And I love hearing you say you have to train people around you to know your boundaries. It has taken quite some time, but I even had a friend, we were traveling, and somebody was like, look at your Instagram, and she was like, she don't have that. I was like, thank you. Because you're right. I didn't even have the app downloaded. Do you hear what I'm saying to you? So you could tag me, go ahead. But I'm not going to get back to you. I actually just logged in yesterday. It was all of these. I was like, well, what was this? What did I miss? Because it was weeks ago. And I was like, well, but that's, again, for me to keep my sanity. So thank you for just discussing your boundaries. I want to transition into a segment that I call the rundown. If you're familiar with this or that, it's the same thing. So I'll give you two options and you can just choose one or the other. These are a bit difficult. I will say that. But do your best. Do your best to select one. So, I don't even like this first one because, like, it depends. Okay, but we'll still ask. So, prevention or treatment?
Prevention.
Yes. Okay. Now, unfortunately, if you don't prevent, that's why I say it depends. Because if you didn't prevent it, then you got to get treated. Most of the time. But for you, a gym workout or a home workout?
Home workout.
Rest day or productivity push?
Whoo, child. Now this is tough. I'm gonna be honest with myself. Productivity.
I know, right? Sometimes you just can't take that day.
Yeah.
And we should be.
Yeah.
It'd be a lot going on though. Boundaries or accessibility?
Boundaries now. Oh no. Boundaries.
Ab-
Boundaries.
Absolutely. Innovation or tradition?
Innovation.
I knew you was going there.
That's what's gonna push us forward, honey.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Discipline or motivation?
Discipline. I'm self-motivated, so this is like
No, that's
definitely
right.
dependent. Yeah, I'm self-motivated, so discipline for me, I believe in a lot of discipline.
I love that.
I'm very disciplined.
I love got to be.
Yeah.
I'll be telling people I'm like this.
Uh-huh.
You
Just
can't
like
come in there and try to like no. This is how it goes. So two more. Being heard or being believed?
being hurt. Yeah. I think being hurt.
And lastly, breaking systems or building new ones?
No. Building new ones.
Yep. 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 I kind of figured where you was gonna go with that, but I'd love to hear your answers. And it's about breaking the boundaries, not that we create for ourselves, but the ones that society has put on
Yeah.
us.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
So yes, to your point, building new ones. I wanted to ask you before we close out, two-part question again. One thing that if someone listening didn't hear anything else you said that you would want them to take away, in addition to that, what is something you believe that our allies, so women, men, whoever, who are not Black, could benefit from hearing?
Oh, this is a great question, and I want to thank you for asking me that question. For those of you, and I'm going to repeat the question. She said, for those who are not Black, who want to be allies, what do I have to say to you? Um, I'll say this: we're in a population, or especially in the U.S., where we're more diverse. We have a lot of interracial couples. We have people who, just because of what they look like, that people automatically think they are racist. And I want to say this to you: if you are an ally, if you truly see where healthcare is going in this country, especially as it pertains to Black and Brown individuals, use your voice, um, use your influence, because it doesn't always have to be in the form of voice. And sometimes your influence is also about positioning people and putting them advocates, people who are using their voice in front of your network, using your resources to push the needle forward. You don't have to just do nothing, and we're not asking you to do anything extra if you're busy as well, because we understand like our plights are our plights. People are extremely busy, but if you can just reach out to someone who can push the needle forward to say, how can I help? And we can just, take that lift. I can absolutely do that. So reach out to me. For those of you who are allies and want to help, I have resources. I have individuals that I can connect you with. I promise you it won't be too much more on your plate. We need you. We need your voice. We need your influence. We need your network. We need all of the things. If you are an ally and you don't agree with how Black and Brown people are being treated or being cared for in this country, call me. Thank you.
I love it. I love it. No, thank you. I appreciate this conversation for so many reasons. Again, just your transparency and just coming from a human standpoint, taking away your white coat and all the other accolades, everything you've achieved, just telling the audience you are a human first, you are a woman first, and that's the standpoint that you held this conversation in. So thank you. I want to ask you, where can people find you? So do you have a website? Where can they order your book?
Yes, yes. So you can email me at drej@drej.com, and that's doctor spelled out on both sides, doctorej@doctorej.com. My website is the same, www.drej.com. That's doctor spelled out. You can follow me on social media. I'm Dr. Ebony January. That's doctor spelled out, Ebony with an I. January, just like the month, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on Facebook. And you can find my book on Amazon.com. And on my website, I have master classes for labor complications. I have courses, I have downloads for dads, for support persons as well. If you want me to come, speak at an institution or anything like that, you can email me. Someone from my team will respond.
Yes, yes, yes. So make sure that you all are following Dr. January. Hit her up if you have any questions or need anything. As you mentioned, allies, if you are interested in just moving this plight forward, right, and helping in any way, definitely reach out. And Dr. January, I wanted to just, again, thank you for reminding us that health is not a luxury. It's our foundation. So from everything, from our good health and from where we consider ourselves well, I'm gonna say, I'll say it differently. Not how we consider ourselves well, but incomplete wellness and wholeness. That's the foundation. Absolutely. So thank you for sending that reminder. So once again, make sure you follow Dr. January on all platforms and reach out if needed. Buy the book, Black Girls Can Talk. Follow us on social media as well, Black Girls with an S_can talk on all platforms, as well as like and subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can hear more episodes just like this one. That is all for today. I'm Dr. McCree. That's Dr. January. And until next time, stay powerful. That's a wrap on today's episode of Black Girls Can Talk. I hope you felt heard, empowered, and inspired by today's conversation. If you love what you heard, make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with your girl. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at blackgirls_can talk to stay updated on future episodes and join the conversation online. Got something you want us to talk about or want to be a guest on our show? Hit us up on social media or visit our website at blackgirlscantalk.com. Thank you for listening, and remember, Black girls can talk, and we've got a lot to say. Until next time, stay powerful.